Hey everybody, welcome back to High Country Art, where I make pottery and I do homesteading things. This week on the bucket list, I am prepping for goats because I'm getting goats at the end of the month and I'm very excited. So in the spring, before all of the wildfires, we had pounded a bunch of posts in the ground, which is very exciting. We still have to put fencing up, and I'm building another pallet shack. I'm calling it my goat apartments, because I'm going to make this one, which is a little bit smaller, and then the plan is to build another one next year when they're going to give birth, hopefully. But this will fit too for the winter, nice and cozy, keep them nice and warm. What I've got going on here is we have taken 3 of these blue pallets, and I'll lift this up. We took 3 of the blue pallets and then removed all of the middle partitions and laid them on the ground, and then we took the ones that were sitting there and just offset them, so you can see here is where the pallet segments were, and so now it's one solid floor. On our cow shelter we didn't put a floor, but for the goats I really wanted a floor. We might just have to buy a little bit of material, or we'll see at the end if I can just put a little bit there. I lost all my help for the rest, so I was trying to put this wall together. I have it all nailed together. I'm trying to figure out right now whether or not I should put this side flush with this, or turn it around, or put it up here. However, if I put it up there, I think it will just takes almost a foot off of here in total, and I really don't want that. So I think I might put it on the outside and then nail it on in. I'll be adding the door entrance here, and the wind kind of comes from over there and comes this way, so that should work well. We did the same thing with our cow shack, which is also a pallet shack, as you can kind of see over there, and they never get wind in their shack, which they really enjoy. So my thinking is, if I do it this way, it just gives me more of a flat surface area, so I don't have to put as much inside to get the goats to not kind of like mess with the other side. And then on this side, I'm going to take some cheap OSB, which I know is less than ideal for outdoors. However, it's $13 a sheet, and you can paint it. It'll last quite a few years, and that's just how it is right now, because I don't pay for lumber. All right, so I cut a pallet in half to give this little extra joint here, but it's actually a little bit longer, as you can see, kind of over this area, which is fine. I think that will just be an extra windbreak, and I think we might also just add on to this next year, so then we could just take the front portion off, add a couple more pallets, and then all of a sudden it's twice the size, which ultimately would be a pretty good little barn. Probably should do that from the get-go. However, we only had 3 pallets that were the same for that bottom piece. I think one of the biggest things about building with pallets is completely throw leveling out the window, which is okay. You want to pick the flattest piece of ground you can find. You build your base first, and then you just try to level everything up with that, and keep, especially if you're going to be stacking more pallets on, try to keep it as even as possible. And I think that's all you really can do. You could try, if you really wanted to level a little bit, you could try to level the base as much as you can. So you can see down here, I do have some wedges, just because it is a little bit of a drop there, and that helps keep everything slightly plumb. So I got this all attached. I'm going to put one more layer up here, mainly because if I don't do that, my partner is too tall and he will never help clean the goat area. So I added these 2 pallets because that's going to be the height of this goat area. And then I'm going to put half pallets on the back and make an angled roof so the snow drops off there And then the doorway is gonna end about here. Should be nice in and out. I'm pretty excited. I'm picking up the goats at the end of August. So we got the half pallets on the back here. And then our idea is to use all of this, these not branches, but trees that we cut down in the winter, which we actually put on all of our fence line, for the trussing. And then we're gonna throw OSB on top. Yeah. Are you gonna put those up? It looks chaotic, but it will work.
Shelter a la goats. And we're doing the true hipster pallet business with live edge trusses. Huh?
Freshly harvested trees.
Freshly harvested trees.
Economical. It's ecological.
It's ecological.
This is a very much trust the process type of build. It looked crazy, but it's looking pretty nifty. Almost set up for the goats. We just put the roof on and the back. We're gonna paint all this. And this is gonna be, we're gonna put a thing here for extra windbreak. And we're gonna obviously fill those holes, but I don't know. I think it's pretty good for a bunch of pallets and so we ended up getting these two ladies. This is Brune and that is Oast. They are purebred alpines. And they are adorable. Oh, and Yukon, of course, needs to get in the video. But, so we got them in August. It is now March the next year. The plan is we're going to build a bunch of play equipment for them in here. They got a little bored after the winter. And tried to break out. But now they've got this. And they love it. Am I standing on your must stand with? Yep. Yeah, there we go. Both of you standing. But yeah, a little bit of play equipment in here for them. Makes all the world of difference. All right. So you can see them over there being a couple of weirdos. I will give you a tour of the goat shack now that it's been in use for a couple of months. What works, what doesn't work. So we ended up, after this winter, because we put so much straw in there, because it got to minus 45, this door didn't really want to shut. So this, we ended up bringing over that used to have a big water tank in it, and we just filled that full of hay for them to eat, which actually works as another barrier. Like I was saying earlier in the video, all the wind kind of comes from over there and comes over here. We have a couple of sitting chairs usually for us to come sit with the goats. But I think that it worked really well in here. We have the dog out here and they hang out with the ladies. And then just before it gets cold, we just basically stack it up in here, almost up here with the straw. And when you do that, they just make little nests and you guys stayed nice and warm. You survived minus 45 like champs, like a champ. But, and then the door just kind of works as a windbreak. We actually never shut it with them. I don't think they really liked it. They don't like being closed in. And access to their food all the time when it's cold is really important. You biting my knees. The rafters, working great. No qualms about those. We didn't have time to paint it last year, so we'll probably take this and paint it this spring, depending on how much time we have. But I'm pretty happy with how this whole thing turned out. We're not going to end up extending it. I do like just the size of this. Keeps it a bit smaller. Hey, you got... Whoa! Ah! You're trying to take me out! You just check on me? What are you guys doing? We might end up building a second one next to it. And I really do actually want to put a second layer in here. Kind of about here where those pallets are, and then make a little ramp so they have two areas to access. And then when it's really cold, it'll be packed with straw in there, and then the heat only rises to about here. He's such a nerd. So then they'll be able to stay a bit warmer. And then the next plan, this whole kind of back forest, we're gonna line with the sheep goat fencing, and we'll have that all lined up back there. We are looking at getting a purebred alpine buck, same kind of time next year from the same breeder, but different line, which works out really well. And then hopefully next year we'll have baby little goats, which I would enjoy. But and then we should be able to make our herd bigger, open up that back area, and have the goats and the dog hang out there all the time. But aren't you guys a bunch of cuties? I think you're a bunch of cuties. But that's the update. I hope you like it. I'll probably post more building things in the new year. But until then, enjoy brunost, which actually means brown cheese in Norwegian. Which is fun. Which is very accurate because that's a goat cheese.